Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we're here to discuss the first league game of the season and boy did it not disappoint. Everything we went through in that 90 minutes, that was one. We've got 37 more of them. Are you ready? However, as this is the first official league game of the season, you might be new around here to this channel, and if you are, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, it's right down there, it's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps us, the nation, on our way towards 55 frickin' K. But enough intro, I want to talk about some football, ladies and gentlemen, because what we just watched, we saw the highs, the lows, the kick and the gonads, but unlike last season where we'd have just been deflated and just had our gonads kicked, we actually rallied back and showed fight and determination when we conceded. Right, time to dive into this fan recap and let's do this thing properly then, shall we? Start off with the very first half. I like the first half, okay? The second half, not so much, but the way we started the game, it was very controlling. I think we all saw the philosophy that the Kilmarnock manager had set his team up with, sort of everything that he's against and just slammed 2 weeks ago. That's weird. And I think with the way that we started, that is how we practiced and planned for Kilmarnock because we looked ready to play against it. I mean, the tight park, I mean, as soon as they were knocked out European football, they went, right, we're not going to play proper pitch sizes. Let's drop it in, congest the middle and be annoying. And for the first 10 or so minutes, you had both teams sort of feeling each other out. The only sort of shot on target we had was when Ryan Jack clipped the ball right over, I believe it was Finlay. Morelos does very well to get his position and shoots a volley from really a ridiculous angle, but it's very well saved by the new Kilmarnock goalkeeper, who, if I'm honest with you, I was pretty impressed with. It looks like a very good shot stopper. And the way we got our first goal was the pressure that we were putting on. Every single time they took a touch of the ball, we were spinning in there and trying to force a mistake, and that is how we got the first corner of the game, which led to our goals. Greg Taylor on the left-hand side, he's trying to usher the ball out. We don't give up on it, we chase him down. It then tries to hit it off the Rangers player, but he rebounds it back off Greg Taylor. And you know what happens when you start Nikola Katic and you put a half-decent ball in the air, that big Croatian SOB Prince will get there, ladies and gentlemen. He forces it again. Very good save from the goalkeeper. It rebounds out to Scotty Arfield. And it was actually a very underrated finish because when you first see it on that pitch, the ball was getting stuck all damn day. The ball stuck between his feet, but he manages in one move to get out his feet and slap it into the back of the net. And you just see this. There's your thumbnail. And that's what the game needed, Rangers to take the lead, because I'm pretty sure if Rangers didn't score that goal, Kilmarnock would have sat anti-football for the entire game and grind out a 0-0 draw. But Rangers got the goal and it sort of opened the game up. There was a couple of half-hour chances where we looked pretty decent. For me personally, around about the first 25-30 minutes, Ryan Jack's heat map was everywhere. He was back, he was forward, he was putting challenges in. Everywhere we needed Ryan Jack to be, he was there and more. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for a couple of other players who I thought was just having a rough time in the first half adjusting to the game. One especially was Ojo, who had a lot of high hopes for in this game of football, but he just never quite reached them. He was well marshalled by Greg Taylor and O'Donnell on the other side whenever he switched from side to side. And I think that was a key problem throughout the entire game. Our wingers weren't really wingers. Ojo kept coming inside and Arfield was playing close to the striker. We basically had no one on that side until BB fired forward. And half-time came at the perfect time because the game was dragging just a little bit. It was just a pretty much practice game from Rangers in possession. However, in the second half, it looked like there was more under this new manager's philosophy. I mean, they were getting people forward. They were putting their wingers very, very close to our full-backs. They were really going for it in the second half. And I think that's why the game sort of sparked into life. And I think that's why they put us under a lot of pressure, because it was almost like our players were so used to, for the first 45 minutes, having all the time of day and passing it from side to side. But as soon as they had someone in their face, we just never reacted quick enough. Now, I cannot stress this enough. The second half performance from Rangers was just like last season's worst moments. Very slow, lackadaisical, not enough threat, and it was quite annoying and boring to watch. Now, it wasn't as if we weren't warned by this, by the way, and they just caught us cold and they scored a late equaliser. Nah. Literally from the 50th minute, Broby misses, which is going to be the miss of the season, let's be fair, the ball in behind and he just hits it wide. I don't know how he's managed to miss that. Maybe he wants to move to Rangers. If so, well done, son. That'll get you in the books. But that right there was the wake-up call, but unfortunately we just never answered the bell, and for the rest of the game it kind of went back and forth, but for me personally it was mostly Kilmarnock coming for the charge. Now, this is the part where I need to give Connor Goldson and Nikola Katic another shout out. For me personally, round about this time when the rest of the team wasn't playing well, they had to put their head where it hurts, quite a lot of times. We dealt with a lot of set pieces because we kept giving away silly and stupid fouls in horrible areas, but the two centre-halves put their heads where it hurts, especially Katic. I think he got to about 7 or 8 headers in that game. Now, we were defending well, but I don't know how you felt, but I just sat back because I knew the goal was coming. And our bows got jangled just a couple minutes after that because it's a silly free kick we've given away once again. This time we don't defend it well. In fact, we defend it absolutely horrendous. We've got 3 players all jumping for the same ball. Not one of them get it. Alfredo Morelos is at the back post. He's not even facing the right way. And Greg Taylor is there, and if I'm being fair, it's a very, very tidy finish from Greg Taylor, who I thought was impressive throughout the entire match, bar his one mistake for our first goal. And you just felt sick when the ball went in because we've seen it so many times. But what we haven't seen before is the way that we responded after conceding that goal. If that was the past, we'd have sort of sat back, and that game would 100% either finish 1-1 or 2-1 to Kilmarnock. We would never ever have won that game last season. For me, the response was completely different because we got on the ball right away. Tavernier, who I thought had a very bad game throughout the majority of it, started getting it, started drifting beyond people, and you could see him screaming at people. You see Connor Goldson screaming at people. You saw Ryan Jack screaming at people. That's the first time in a long time when the Chips have been doing, I've seen 4 or 5 players scream and demand more from the players, and we got to do just right at the very end. And there was a bit of what goes around comes around, and a bit of justice from our goal as well, because you think about it, right back to the start of last season where we made a silly mistake from a corner by making a substitution during it. We conceded that schoolboy 101. Well, a year later, Kilmarnock makes a substitution right at our corner, bringing on another centre-half. We whip it in. Kirk Broadfoot is absolutely all over Connor Goldson, like trying to pull him, trying to drag him, but the big man stays strong, and Captain Colossus is there to bang it into the back of the net. And I can't even tell you what it means because I know we shared it together. And my biggest takeaway throughout that entire game is the last 7 minutes when we conceded that gut punch. The way we responded, the way some players took responsibility and G'd up the rest of the players. That is my takeaway, and that is what we were missing last season. So if anyone's asking, has Rangers improved this or that, look at the way we responded in the last 7 minutes, and the answer is quite clearly yes. And that's the end of the fan recap in my opinion. Turning our attention to some individual player focus. I've already mentioned Ryan Jack. For me, he was absolutely superb in this game. His off the ball movement and work rate was absolutely frightening. How many times did it get back, track his man all the way back, and perfectly time a challenge, and then drive us forward to the halfway line, and then passing it off. That little passage to go all the way back, defend, and get us back to the halfway line before giving it to the more creative players, if you like, is invaluable to our team this season. That is what we need all year long. I was very impressed with Ryan Jack's performance. I was impressed with Aribo's second half performance because when the chips went down, I thought he became a better player, came very close to scoring, but you saw his timing of these challenges are absolutely immaculate as well. Very rarely goes to ground because he simply doesn't need it. He times it just to perfection. Katic had a very good game, bar his mistake in the lead-in for one of their big chances of the game where he just sort of mistimed the ball. Connor Goldson was what he always is, very, very consistent. And the last player I want to talk about is someone who necessarily didn't have the best game in the world, but I was very, very impressed by the way that Alfredo Morelos handled those two centre-halves, and even Power when he had a wee kick at him. He had Greg Taylor having a wee go, he had O'Donnell having a go, but the majority of the time it was the two centre-halves just giving him it a couple of times. But Morelos, his temperament was absolutely on point. I mean, there was one point where Kirk Broadfoot, after the whistle, spins Morelos and throws him to the ground, but instead of reacting, Morelos just sort of chuckles to himself and then gets himself up off the ground. That really, really impressed me, and the argument could be made that was the man of the match, Morelos' frickin' temperament. But with all that being said, that's going to be the end of my fan recap of the season. I'm absolutely buzzing that we got the 3 points. Wasn't a perfect performance, but we showed the fight and determination that we need throughout the entire season. On. Now it's time for you guys to get your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below, and that is where we will be discussing it further. Now though, it's time to jump over to Twitter and hear from the people. Now, the 4 people I picked for the man of the match poll was Connor Goldson, Nikola Katic, Ryan Jack, and Joe Aribo. Aribo was really robbed of a fantastic late goal himself just a couple of minutes before we scored after a truly unbelievable save by the Kilmarnock goalkeeper. So I thought Aribo, when times were tough, he stepped up and he showed me enough. So that is why he made it into that 4th spot. There's been 1,644 votes and there's still 51 minutes remaining. Really, nation? That's what we're doing. Just breaking Twitter. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. 18% votes for Joe Aribo. 21% votes for Nikola Katic. 24% of the people votes for Ryan Jack. But the far and away winner with 37% of the votes is Big Connor Goldson. Rampant Ryan Jack. I wonder who he's going to talk about. Says me. Rampant Ryan Jack anyway writes in, Ryan Jack is the best midfield player of all time and Connor Goldson can have my non-existent children. Finally, we've beaten Kelly in the league. Finally! David Noble writes in, went for Katic, he was our most dangerous player. Poor performance, tactics and subs were a bit weird. Ojo and Davis should have been off a hell of a lot sooner. A win is a win though. Alistair McKenzie writes in, after that performance we still have a lot of work to do. Snake Harper writes in, Jack for me covered every blade on the pitch. As a game though, I feel like we settled for the 1-0 at half time, invited them onto us. Thank God for Goldie. Also, F Kirk Broadfoot. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the last two or three we'll read out. The first one comes in from Ethan. He writes, you are my Goldson, my Connor Goldson. You make me happy. You're welcome for that. That's free, by the way. That's going to be my first signal. Gold 55. That made me laugh. Kimberly writes that Jack for me, he controlled the ball when he had it. Don't know what Ojo was doing. Wasn't his game. Goldson header though. And the last one we'll read out comes from Gavin Dixon. He writes in, Goldson as usual won just about everything and grabbed the late winner. So he deserves the man of the match. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard from the people. You've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Before we wrap up today's video though, I just want to announce that I will be, believe it or not, be on Sports Scene this week. Now, I'm not being paid and I'm not being told what to say and what I can and cannot say. It will just be 100% as always the nation's fans' opinion. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to dive into the comment section and go absolutely mental, but it's the fact that they've reached out and they've took one fan from every support on YouTube and they've given them a platform to speak about their team and give the fans' opinion. Now, at first, even I was thinking, nah, I'm not going to do it, but at least it gives us the opportunity to speak highly of Rangers when things are necessary, and also the opportunity to highlight things that wouldn't necessarily be highlighted on the Rangers side as well. So if it goes well, I should be on it at least for about 30 seconds on Sunday. So if you watch that, you'll see the nation on there. Now, who knows what may or may not happen in the future, whether we're given a longer time and more of a time to debate, because I'd love to get on that show and debate a couple of topics. You all know what I'm saying. Now, before we wrap up though, I need to give a special mention to the Patreon account. This Friday there should be a video with me, Baz and Paul uploaded just on the Patreon account as a thank you for all your support. If you'd like to support the channel, link for that is down there in the description below. And as always, I've been Sieging Over 92. Thank you so much for watching and bye.